daytime. I'm focused on that. We can talk at night. Mm-hmm. I'm good with that. Or hey, you know what? I'm a type in a dating phase. I don't want to talk to somebody every day. Right. So let's talk every other. So I know what the expectations are because I think sometimes
if they don't like to talk every day, does that bother you? Like in any type of communication.
In a way, because I'm like, how do you not want to talk every day?
Yeah.
But it's people that will say that they don't want to talk every day, but they're still very much interested in
you. And I can work with that. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's like
I can.
I guess it's like what's the reason behind it?
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think that some people, I question the motives. Mm-hmm. Like, why don't you want to talk every day?
Mm-hmm. Because they're also dating other people and they need to keep up.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like in my head, I'm like, it's also because they are dating. They're interested in you. They're also interested in this person, that person, and they're trying to manage.
You're Tuesday,
right?
Leroy is Wednesday.
Not Leroy. Oh, that's
but this is my thing when it comes to that is if you could go 24 hours without talking to me.
I don't like that.
Or to somebody you getting to know. If you can do 24 hours without me, damn it, 48 hours, then we got a problem here. That means that because you may not be a good communicator, but it don't take nothing but to call for 5 minutes on the phone or when you're going to your break. Something. And even if your words aren't good, your action should be better. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to get a pencil for pen. For Ken.
You got something.
Hey, guys. It's my birthday and we're having a wild card conversation.
Oh, it's on? Hey,
yes,
y'all.
welcome to the K&J show with our friend again, Brandon. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Y'all say my name.
No, yeah.
Say my name.
He's so silly.
Happy birthday to Jamal Gordon, good friend of mine.
No, it's totally fine. Trust me, it's totally fine because it's out there. He has a whole website. So yes, happy birthday.
Well,
to
I want
him.
people to know your name because your name is going to be famous.
That's right.
Oh, yes,
write it down.
He over here directing plays and productions and things like that. Working up there in the Capitol. So
go ahead.
You are famous.
So I'll bring up an example.
Okay.
I'm not going to say when this example happened. We'll talk about that after the show.
Ooh, well, I got enough wine.
I met this guy. And we were, we were he is a oh God, what's in May?
Gemini?
No, not that one.
Taurus?
Taurus.
Oh, stubborn. Sorry, Taurus fans.
Taurus are generally good people. Like I never have any issues with them, but in talking with him, communication from the beginning was great. And then we actually we met one time before and we met again on a nightcap situation. Didn't have sex, but it was like let's Netflix and cuddle.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay, so we had that, and then the next day he was like, I'm really feeling you. I feel like we should do this more often. Like, I like your vibe, X, Y, and Z. So I was like, okay, so. Of course, during the week, I'm not really, I don't have the time to do what I need to do. So I'm not trying to entertain anybody on that light, but I will still communicate, through text or whatever case may be. But on that following weekend, I was like, okay, well, let's do it again. Come Saturday, he's like, yeah, I'm going to come over and we're going to, basically have our same cuddle setup that we did before. He stops responding. And I'm like, okay, are you coming? Are you not? And then the next day, in which I knew that he didn't have to work, I didn't hear from him at all the whole day. And I'm like, what's going on? Is everything okay? Because my first reaction is something is wrong. Not necessarily that I'm upset about him not responding, but I'm like, something's wrong. And then, so when I finally, after maybe 2 or 3 texts, he's like, oh, I'm fine, we'll talk soon. And I'm like, that's what I don't care for. Like, because I'm like, at this point now, whatever your excuse is, because you stopped responding, is not, in my eyes, I'm like, whatever it is, if it was actually something you want me to know, if you cared enough, you would have told me in that moment. Not wait until days later to say X, Y, and Z. And to this day, I don't know what that was since we hadn't talked, because I said to him, I value honesty and consistent communication.
As
and
he
if
said on the K&J show many times. If you
can't tell me exactly what's going on, you know, whether it be a family issue, whether it be your ex, just be honest with me and say, this is what's going on. So at least I'll know that, okay, this person's being honest with me. Because mind you, we ain't got no titles. We're just getting to know each other. You don't owe me anything. I don't owe you anything. But I just feel like that piece of it is important. And when he didn't provide that, I was like, I'm good on you. I am good on you. Whatever you got going on, you figure that out, and then you come back if you would like, and then we discuss it. But at this point now, I don't feel like it's necessary. And that's just me, because at that point it had been a week.
Why is it so easy to just not be to go ghost and to be honest? And I fall victim to that. You know, I've had virtual dates or whatever, and we just kind of you just can pick up from the vibe that it's not gonna go anywhere other than this virtual date. Maybe a little conversation here and there, but nothing far as being in a relationship or getting to know each other. But why is it so easy just to go ghost rather than just say, well, I'm not feeling it, or I gotta ask, or I'm still got feelings for, or this was just a little nice cuddle day. You know, rather be honest. We just lead people around these pathways
for no reason. Because it wasn't for my whole setup. It was like, it wasn't me saying to you how much I, enjoyed, and I did enjoy spending time with him, but I wasn't the one saying, I'm really feeling your vibe, I want us to do this again, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you're putting all that out there, and then you start responding, and it's just, it's weird. Yes, okay. Raise your hand.
Oh, our Capricorn has.
Yes, so Brandon has raised his hand to come in, because let me tell you, before Brandon starts speaking, I value this man's opinion. Because I value his opinion because he approaches things from a logical standpoint, but he also is in tune with his emotions. So I want y'all to pay attention to what he said.
Oh, okay. Well, I gave him a pen and a paper.
I am glad. I do gotta take notes because
he gave me a pen and crayon, y'all. What am supposed to do with him? I mean, a crayon.
I haven't seen a crayon since I was in school.
I gave Kate a crayon because a crayon is colorful, like his personality.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And so
that's bull.
So my day, guys, it's been snowing, it's been raining on my birthday, and Ken made it colorful. And so I gave him a crayon, not because I was out of pens and pencils, which may be the case, but I just decided to give him something to brighten his day. Like
he'll come up with something, y'all. He will. I
get yourself an Aquarius, okay? Okay.
If you get cold in Aquarius, you're gonna be cold in ice.
Ooh. What do you have it?
Just playing.
Okay,
no, let me
Red.
tell you, my friend is a sweetheart, and it may be snowing, icing outside and dark, but it's bright sunshine and warm in here.
Thank you. And you know, home. Brandon, you are so. He traveled 2 hours and a half for me. Go ahead. Tell us your thoughts.
My question, do you think there's a possibility, and it doesn't excuse it, that he was a little turned off by what you said about not wanting to basically communicate till the weekend? You didn't say it like that.
Is that what you said? Did I miss that?
No. You didn't say it, but you said you had a lot going on the week or something like that.
Yeah.
So you think he got a little bit insecure with himself, perhaps, and and maybe it was slightly.
I would hope not, being that I was still communicating with him via text, and if he had called, we would have talked. Like it wasn't like I wasn't communicating with him at all. Like every day,
it was the same level of communication before you had that conversation.
Yes,
okay.
But as far as us actually physically seeing each other, I didn't see that happening until the weekend because of work and X, Y, and Z. And he had just started a new job as well, so he was in tune and focused with that. But it just was odd to me that he would express, what he did and his actions say otherwise. Because I'm like, what happened in which you just stopped responding on, Saturday night when we're going to be supposed to be spending time and getting to know each other more on Netflix and cuddle. You just stopped responding. And then the next day, you had all of Sunday, and you said nothing all of Sunday.
But it was
and then
football
come
Sunday. It was Super Bowl Sunday.
What was that, last Sunday?
Yes.
Who cares?
Well, men are not reachable on Super Bowl Sunday. Not even me.
I don't agree with
I
that.
don't
watched
agree
the
with that at
Super
all.
Bowl 9-31. Yes.
So you don't respond when you watch the Super Bowl?
Nope, I don't.
Why not?
Because I'm watching other men do their work.
Okay.
Fair enough. So the thing is, okay, so that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I think that I'm not a believer in ghosting, even if you're not really feeling the person. I think that ghosting is an easy way out for a lot of people.
It is.
And I think that at the very least, even if you don't even have the courage to talk to the person on the phone, at the very least send some kind of text or let them know that you're not going to probably reach out anymore.
Yeah.
And,
Dang, you would send that?
well, I'm just saying it's better than not saying anything at all.
Yeah.
I think you should have a conversation.
What happened with, I just think
But also I think it depends. Well, that's true. You can say that. I mean, I'm just saying something to let the person know that you're not interested in. But I think also I'm okay with the text if we only went on one date.
Yeah.
You know, but if we've been kind of have this pattern of getting to know each other and then, you know, and then we all of a sudden stop talking, then I think that's a little bit of a problem, because I think that it only takes one conversation. Because you might have to ghost if somebody doesn't get the message. Sometimes people are a nuisance. You tell them,
I agree with that.
But I think you should put some kind of closure on it, because that's what I want. At least, even though I might be disappointed, I might be hurt, I might be heartbroken, but let me know not to expect anything. Because the thing is, it's like if you sometimes you think, oh, this is going okay, you're connecting, all of a sudden, boom, what happened?
And I guess I should say that this person is younger.
Okay.
Although age doesn't always correlate to maturity.
How old?
26.
Oh, friend.
They know better.
Damn, 20 years apart?
Y'all hear this foolishness. But if you heard Brandon just now, he said they knew better. In which, of course, and the response, when I finally did get a response, the response was, because I said, like, you know, naturally I'm a kind person. You agree? I'm a kind person.
Oh yes,
right?
the kindness.
And so I was like, it's almost like you kind of took advantage of my kindness in a way. Yep. And he was like, when he responded, finally did respond, he was like, wait, took advantage of your kindness. He was like, that's not what it was. He was like, I would explain in a moment. That moment never came. Never came. The moment never came.
Can I put a crayon in this marker here and say, when you say you're kind, are you free to tell our fans and your friends what that kindness was that you shared? Because I know you, but I know you as kind friend. Right. So what is kind?
So the kindness for me was me being understanding despite him not saying what it was. You know, like not me sending him messages cussing him out or anything of that nature. I just was more so like, I hope everything is okay. Like I didn't give him a reason to further go into, you know, kind of defense mode, because naturally I just want to make sure that nothing has actually happened, and if something has happened, we can at least talk about it. So I was like, you're taking advantage of my kindness, because typically, you know, if I felt like that it was some BS, I would have gave you a different can.
Oh, I don't
want
to
like
that can, honey.
So I gave him the can that I would want to be reciprocated with.
Why can't that be the can all the time?
That can.
Have you met a Scorpio when he is angry? Dude, that thing come with a striker. You don't want a Scorpio when they are angry.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Right. The anger doesn't come out of anywhere. The anger is when somebody has done wrong to that person. Yeah, like it's not me. It's not me just getting angry just to get angry. It's me like saying, "Damn, you did like I'm nothing but kind and courteous to you, and you really just slapped me in my face. So yeah, I'm pissed. You know, like so that's where that can comes from versus so you always get your standard kind sweet can until you cross me."
and I know not to cross a Scorpio, but so for me with that conversation, when I have conversations like that, or a dude does that, whether we're dating or we're getting to know it, or ghost, or just fall back on the. I like to communicate. I think I talk to my friends all the time, and sometimes I want you to text before I text you back. Meaning, if I text you at 2:59, please text me back at 2:58. Right. You know, but single here, as I say. But for me, in my own personal experience and for my own mental capacity, is it creates a level of insecurity. In which you're like, okay, we were talking, we were doing this, and then I can see we both just realize we just not connecting. But if I feel like we are connected, and then you fall back on how you text, how you respond, then I'm like, well, am I not enough? Are you not entertained? And one thing how I face with my insecurity with that is I try to make a joke, a little LOL moment, and then but.
You mean who, me? That's
cute.
Look, you give this boy a compliment. Oh, who, me?
I just want to make sure you texted the right number. But anyway.
No, it wasn't you.
So, well, better be me.
See, not ready for that part.
But this is my thing. It messes with that insecurity. Thank God I got counseling, honey. But
very true. Plug if you do not have a therapist or someone you can really just sit down and express your thoughts. Consider that, even if nothing is going on, because it's so many. A lot of us are like onions. We have so many layers that need to be peeled back, so definitely consider that. But I mean, for myself, I'm like,
but you just have 2 layers.
Ooh,
the sweet can and the mean can, right?
No,
I only know the sweet can.
I have several layers. But yeah, I just found it to be kind of interesting how that particular situation happened. But the overall topic when it coming from there was consistency. And when you say something and your actions differ, for me, I'm just like, okay, well, what's going on? Because I'm going to give you, I will not ask anything of you that I can't give myself. And I can always give consistency. I can give open and honest communication. Has never been an issue. So I'm like, if I can give that to you, I would want that to be reciprocated. If you can't do that, then let's have a conversation about it, and let's see if I want to continue to pursue this, getting to know each other or whatever case may be, because it may not be for me,
Absolutely, especially if that's one of the qualities you really respect and really, a lot of times you want to see how to love someone, you watch what they do.
Yeah.
Because that's often a way to get an insight as to how that person receives stuff. So if you're consistent, most likely you appreciate consistency.
Yeah, you want that back, because to me, for consistency and communication through text or phone, for me, is my love language. So that's me caring for my friend or my significant other. So if we're not on the same page with that, then we have to talk about it. Like, what is your love language? Okay, so you may not be able to text me every 5 minutes. You work, you doing your thing, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I work from home, I'm chilling, you know what I'm saying? So I can text a little bit more. But if you don't have that schedule, that's fine. But at least don't let no damn 24 hours come out of the day and I ain't heard from you, or you ain't checked how your day was.
Can you give me a pen?
Yes, friend, it's right there. So friend has a question, but he raised his hand.
I want to forget what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
And you know what's cute about Brandon raising his hand?
He do be raising.
It's a long hand.
Yeah.
So when it comes up, it's real.
You gotta watch where you're pointing that thing, friend.
A long finger, should I say? You know what they say about them big hands?
Okay. That's why I go back to what they say about skinny people.
Oh, shit, friend. Hello.
It's just a
the Inquirer. Okay, friend, you Trey making note, like taking note, or you know what's that?
So,
he's the oldest one here.
But anyhow,
and he doesn't look it. I was very shocked like a couple minutes ago because I thought I was the oldest one here.
Well, you look it.
So. And so what I choose is Ken in this moment. But once this mic goes off, he'll get the other one.
That's okay, Fred. I can take it.
I'm sorry. What you said?
I was going to say too, and I really like what you were going to say. What you did say is that I like a communicator myself. I love a communicator, because I like the fact that you what you see is what you get more from a communicator. They're going to let you know the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's true.
And it can also help with that reassurance, too. Because I think, like you said, birthday boy, if you do get ghosting, and one time, okay, but if it happens multiple times, that can play with your insecurity. Because then you kind of can have that thought in your head, is there something about me? What's going on? But I think also, you know, and sometimes we have to examine who we're attracting to, though. That's the story.
Ooh, friend, if you don't stop.
Fall for your type, honey. But yeah, I like a communicator because I think of myself. I think of myself as a communicator. I text you all day now. I'll text and I like not only text, but I like the thorough text, not the okay. I can't stand that.
Let me tell you something. If we pay, I had to stand up for this. If we, I came from the day.
Was I finished?
Oh.
So anyway.
Oh yes.
I love authority. I love authority.
And look, I sat down because
you did.
I can't wait for this mic to be turned off. Okay.
So anyway, so like friend here, I was trying to use him as an example.
Thank you.
Is that he's a communicator. You know, you're consistent. Sometimes I'd be like, but I keep that consistency in check because I'll be like, so where's Fran? If it's not until 12 o'clock in the daytime, like, hey, I'm just
because you gotten used to it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a pattern person.
It's
part of the Capricorn. So I just think that, and also if you find me not being consistent, I want someone to tell me. Because my intention is not that. My intention is to be consistent. But sometimes we can get distracted. And I think what I was also going to say, and I can let you have the mic back. I'm just messing with you too. But I wanted to show you I can be authoritative when I need to.
I wouldn't listen. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say.
I think the frustrating part about what you were saying, friend, is that when you get this inconsistency, is no matter what someone might say about being busy with work, being busy with taking care of their dog, being busy with, you know, helping the little old lady with her groceries. I think the moral of the story is nowadays, people are not far from their phones. Period. They take their phone in the bathroom with them. They sleep next to their phone.
Yep.
They be checking their phone when they're driving. People are not that far from their phone, so you know somebody saw your text or saw your call, even though they might say okay, and of course sometimes we can't respond right away. But I think that's when that communication comes in. It's like, okay, even if you have been aware, oh hey, sorry, you know, I was such and such, but that's not the pattern. And I think for me that's the frustrating part about someone that's inconsistent, because trust and believe, if they are not texting you back consistently, they're texting somebody. It could be their friend. They just going over your text.
Oh yeah.
You know.
And God forbid it's on red receipt.
Yeah, so we don't have.
Thank God for Android.
That's why I don't do that. I don't have no red receipt.
Yes.
I didn't think about what I'm gonna say, even if I need to respond. But anyhow, we're not in the land of pagers anymore. We're not in the land of landlines. People are not far from their phones, and I think that's the frustrating part for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Friend, I'm showing my age because I forgot. But what I will say is, like, back to that consistency thing is, hey, like Maya Angelou said, when they show you the first time, believe them. But why is it that we try to change that pattern to fit our needs? So it's either you compromise on the pattern that, you know, Ken may not be the best texter in the world as I would be, or why is the mindset I'll get Ken to be the texter that I am? You know what I'm saying? Because we want what we can't have in a way. So what unites our flame and our burn is having to go for that other person that is not fully giving you their attention.
So let me ask you this. You admitted that you've ghosted before.
Oh yeah, I have ghosted.
Why did you ghost?
I probably ghost because, as we talked on our show, episode 3, baby, his name must be Casper because he went ghost. You know, Ken looking at me like, what episode?
I used to love that movie.
Ken looking at me what episode that is, but I have gone ghost, but I don't do that anymore. So I can say younger me, which is probably like a year ago, did not ghost,
Dog
right?
is.
did ghost younger me, but now I'll say, hey, I just see us as a friend, or I'll just be
So you've
like,
done that with all your virtual dates.
yeah, my virtual date. We'll just understand, like, hey, this is, we kind of like the same thing too much, and so you just go and say,
You say the same thing. What do you mean?
like, I won't fulfill your needs.
Because y'all have the same needs.
Sexually. Because we may have the same needs. That, let's just say we all will be at the salad bar.
So when you go into a date, do you already know what that person... So at what point do you ask that question to see?
I think, for me, you just take one to know one. And I might be wrong with that. Because I get a lot of inquiries as if, I flip the stakes.
How?
How not? So when we go and we talk and things like that, I mean, you just get that vibe. It may be, and it may be because I'm a gentleman. And a lot of people don't get that no more. Chivalry to me is dead.
Yeah.
It has died. See, we're all Southern gentlemen, on this show. So I think that northern feel of the chivalry and that southernness is gone. So it's new.
But if you don't know for sure, when is the appropriate time to ask? If you really, or not ask, or even inquire about it, because if you are really interested, so you have a mutual thing, and you really are not quite sure, you might think, but you want to have that assurance before you go too far along to make sure you're not into the same thing. So when do you, because I think, for me, I think it can be that fine line. Because if you're really interested in someone, also if you ask too soon, it can come across to me like you're interested in sex. But then if you wait too long, you may feel like you're going to waste your time in case you're not compatible.
So where's the middle ground?
Exactly.
So as Kay and I discussed on season 3, episode 1.
Link in the comments.
I think we had our understanding. Well, it just depends on your own timeline. Like for me, I think it was like, no, it depends. If we get in the vibe, I don't ask now. That don't need to mean to say I won't see if you on Grindr or Jack and see what's in your preferences. But I think I think for real a month would be okay. Well, what are you? What's going on? Because I've had conversation with someone would talk to me and they would be like, well, I like this and I like that, and I'm like, well, I don't really get down with this and I don't do that. And so I said, hey, I just think that you a cool person, but I don't think we're compatible on the level of intimacy. And they felt the same way. And it took like 2 weeks for me to have that conversation, but I just realized that it wasn't going to be something that other than a text here and there.
And so it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. I feel like if you have that mutual connection where you feel each other, the conversation will naturally come up somehow, or even through flirting, maybe a little bit.
So if the conversation comes up and you discover that you and that person aren't or desiring the same things sexually and wouldn't be compatible in that light, but everything else works, would you try to make it work? Would you consider other options in an effort to move forward and have a relationship with that person? Ooh. Because I've also heard of cases where you have sexual preference and that person has the same preference, and they're like, we vibe so well together, we care about each other, we're just gonna see how we can satisfy each other sexually, to make it work, or bring somebody in the bedroom.
Yeah, I've known that people who've done that, and where they just make it work. I mean, you have toys, you have games, you have kinks, you have things, and then, or you have those options as we talked about on episode 3, I believe, with Miss Key, is you have those options in which you may have to bring somebody in. Is that like as what I said? That's something that I would do? No, right now as talking, that's something that I mean we would have to. All the resources have to be gone to that point.
Okay.
But I think that if it comes to that, I think that if I find if we connect and we vibe really well, then we will have to see how it works. Now, everybody, I mean, you have sexual needs and you have sexual desires. You know, I can say as in my 25 years on Earth is that I have been able to say I've done it all. Mm-hmm. So I've been here, I've been there, I've seen this, I've seen that. So if I really care for somebody or whatever, and they might be at the salad bar with me, then that's okay if they're willing to stand with me at the salad bar. Mm. You get my metaphor?
But I didn't think you would be interested in someone who had the same needs as you.
Well, I can get some dressing on the salad.
So, and I think that's a very good point that you bring up, Ken.
Okay.
Because I think that when you're even before you date someone, I feel like you should know your you know your non-negotiables and you know your negotiables.
Right.
So that comes with self-awareness. Mm-hmm. So if you know that you're the type of person that's not going to work for, then you stick to that.
That's true.
If you are willing to say, hey, if I meet someone, because that's very possible, meet someone where you do the same thing. Sometimes how does lesbian do it sometimes?
Yeah, anyway, no, I mean questions that need answers.
Exactly. And the other question is, why don't lesbians and gays be friends very much? Been interested in the conversation.
Why don't who?
Lesbians and gays be friends very much.
We need to be. We need to go out and we support the club.
LGBT,
the clubs.
Those letters are very separate.
It's very separate, as we talked about, as I said, and partly it's because of the night scene as well. For my opinion, with the clubs, it's different vibes. But there are tons of clubs that represent the lesbian community that are not withstanding and have not been holding but disappearing. So leading them to, I just feel like even the gay community is male dominated.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but like you said, yeah, it is separated.
We talk about the community, but and that's a whole nother discussion. But we
Yes.
talk about it being community, but the reality is that it's not a true community because it's a lot of separation. Unfortunately, when you are just what you consider to be your standard gay, then you may have a phobia against transgender people, and I never understood that because I'm like, it may not be something you're sexually in, but you should be able to still embrace that person because somebody embraced you.
Because the trans gave you the right at Stonewall.
But so it's you get into that word of community. For myself, I don't see where that is. But it's a whole nother.
It's more to unite with a slogan than to
right.
put in the work. So we need to put in the work together.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of knowing what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with, because I feel like you should already know going into it. Because what happens is you're like, oh, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't be with someone who has the same desires I have. I wouldn't do this distance thing. And then you meet someone you really like, and then sometimes you think differently.
Right.
But I feel like down the road it will still become an issue, or not if you are willing to. Because the thing is, if you do the same thing, are one of you willing to compromise, or both of you sometimes, to make sure that you both get each other, fulfill each other's needs. And I think that you just have to know what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with. Because I think I don't think there's no right or wrong answer to it. It's just a matter of knowing you and knowing what you want out of a relationship. Because for some people, especially folks who may want a monogamous situation, that might be very challenging.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But if you're willing to not have strictly monogamous, that might be a little bit easier. Also, if you are into someone with the same the same preference, then how do you, because everything is great in the beginning, but how do you keep that spark fresh as you go further down the line if you're interested in longevity?
Right.
in a person, because what happens is
without going outside of the relationship.
But you might be okay with going outside the relationship. That's why I said it's good to know,
have those discussions, those ground rules,
and know for yourself. And if you
and also, can you? Sorry to interrupt, but also, can you go outside of the relationship and be okay or be secure enough to have that interaction with that person outside, to be sure that they're not, you don't catch feelings or they don't catch feelings, or like that's another tricky thing to that.
That goes to the ground rules that we talked about.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Kissing.
So if you are going outside of the relationship, to satisfy that sexually.
Okay, to satisfy you sexually.
Right, to satisfy you or your partner sexually, and then your partner and that person develop feelings for each other, or you develop feelings for that person. I feel like that, and people can say, we have our ground rules, but when that connection is real, those ground rules just are that.
Because when you think about sex, you have a intertwine of strands coming together. Those are so.
Fran, we didn't ask for that.
But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, if you talk about that connection that you may have because you are inside someone, or someone is inside of you. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to be careful. And so some people may have those things where there's no kissing. There's no texting after. But as you said, who's to say those ground rules are solid?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Some people make it work, and then some people do. I'll hand it to Brandon. He raised his hand. Politely, may I say, but go ahead.
So, and I think it goes back to, knowing yourself. And knowing what you... that's why I think it's so important to know who you are before you go into a relationship. Because that's when things get blurred, things get confused. Because you should already know what you are willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with before you enter a situation.
Okay.
In my opinion. Now, of course, that is not always firm. Yeah. Because you never know what can come up as a result of this person. But, to the point that both of y'all made, yes, you do have to be careful about, I think, someone catching feelings, you bringing a third person or whatever the case, or if you go outside your relationship, because, and that's where you got to know yourself too, or be able to put those boundaries in place, because you got to be honest with that person too. If you're engaged, you got to be honest with that person. Yeah. Hey, and what are you looking for? Because open relationship or is it just for sex? Or are you really able to have a relationship with someone else?
And can you detach sex from emotion?
Yeah. No, I think they come together. Some people can, in a way where they just want to F. They just want to get their business. They want to go, and they can.
I personally think it's really hard.
I think it will be hard. For me, and I like we talked about.
But you've never had, because sometimes you might be interested in someone sexually, but that's it.
That could be true.
Have you ever had that? But that's
all I do is
even in that though, it's still a level of emotion that, because you had to be attracted to that person, and you attracted to that person sexually, but something else had to drive you to that person besides sex. Like, not saying that it can't happen. It's just I would imagine it being very hard to just say, "Oh, I'm there for the sex and nothing else." For myself, other people, different things. So, can
I remember what you said about having sex with a friend?
Sure.
So it came up about having sexual relations with a friend.
Not me.
Yeah, make it clear, friend.
We're not saying we're not implying nothing like that either.
All right.
So, was there any interest in the friend beyond, like, were you open to being in a relationship with this person?
I was. Was I open to being in a relationship? Because we already had a relationship. We had a friendship. So
that's the emotional connection.
So that was the emotional connection. Because if I consider you a friend, I already have emotions tied to you. It may not be in the romantic sense, but I still care and love you if I consider you to be a friend. So those emotions are already established in a light. But when the sex is involved, that's when it can be different, and it can twist into romantic and all those things. But as far as my particular experience of having sex with a friend, could I see it being a relationship? I just didn't want to.
Why?
I didn't want to because I knew that if I took it there, being that I knew their history and they knew my history, that if we didn't make it, we not gonna make it at all.
So you mean that the friendship wouldn't make it?
The friendship would not make it.
So the friendship is what we said is, for me, I value the friendship more. Mm-hmm. I have not heard or seen, at least not even on TV, on Hollywood, where friends with benefits last where someone doesn't get feelings. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. I'm not even bragging here. I'm just saying, y'all know I've had friends who wanted more. Mm-hmm. And I don't date friends. That's a strict rule of mine because I'm doing you a favor. You know what I'm saying? I really do. I feel like, because what I can do for you as a friend and say to you as a friend is different as a partner. Mm-hmm. You get another side of a person as a partner. I can do friends 12 hours. A partner is 24 hours. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather have the friend than the relationship. And I do that because I value my friendship so much that I feel like that is the best. So I'm going to hand it over. Go ahead, Brandon.
So I want to comment on something that you said.
Me?
So, yeah. You.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you just talked about doing you a favor. Now, I must say, this might be just me and my funny ways. Is like, I would be very offended if a friend told me they're doing me a favor, because I feel like that can come across real shady. Really? Now, I think it's better for me to say that you're just not interested in being with a friend. That's your boundary. Because doing you a favor can come across as very, even though that may not be your intention, but it can come across as very arrogant. Like, I'm doing you a favor. No, you're not doing me a favor, honey. Oh. So I would just say, for me, and this is just me, so we have an expectation. Don't ever tell me that you're doing me a favor. I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe that's my own pride. But it may be. But it may be. It may
because
be. But I just.
And I'm sitting over here just loving it. I'm like, yes, you better correct it.
Oh, yeah, correct it. Because when I say I'm doing a favor, it's not for me putting myself on the accolades. My thing is for me to say, look, I got some stuff I need to work on. You need to come up in here with this. Mm-hmm. I want you to focus and be the best for you and find the best for you. And I don't think, as a friend, communicating with my friend, getting to know my friend and these conversations, is to say, I don't think what you are looking for is the best thing that I can offer you.
And I agree. And I don't think you need to put the word the favor in it.
Well, favor ain't fair.
You're right, not fair. But I think that, but in all seriousness, if you friend with the person, you understand that that's the person's intention. That's your intention.
Yeah.
But I do think that I can respect those boundaries because, like you said, I think sometimes things can change amongst friends and things like that, and you want to keep that separate. Mm-hmm. And I think that so I think that you want to be able to go into a situation knowing it just saves a lot of heartache. I feel like if you know yourself, if you know what you can do, won't do, generally speaking,
right? Because
if you open other opportunities, it's important that both people are on the same page with that. Because now a lot of times people in open relationships, but the other person don't know they're in an open relationship.
Ooh, yes,
I mean that part.
And y'all be careful posting that Happy Valentine's update.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the ones who didn't hear Brandon just now, is what he was saying.
But let me tell you.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say one little thing. So I was on the Book of Faces,
Okay,
and there was a thread that said somebody asked a question: how many people, or are there any couples in this group or something like that who, or are there any monogamous people out here, or are there any monogamous couples out here? And so I was reading through the comments. I was like, oh. Somebody said, well, we are. I'm like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know this.
I had some receipts.
I know that. Okay.
Yeah, those are on chat.
Yeah, well, may have slid on a few, not saying send mine, but I'm just saying, I've heard things, and that's why I'm like, people have to know, like I said, sometimes it's one-sided.
Mm-hmm. Which goes back to communication.
Yeah. I think
if you have consistent, honest, and open communication, you should know that your partner is either monogamous or open to dating other people, and that shouldn't be a situation where one person is thinking that they're monogamous with their partner, and the other partner is like, no, I'm out here doing X, Y, and Z. Like that shouldn't be happening, because and if it is happening, it's because you guys don't have the communication you need to have and open and honest about it.
Yeah, you have to have that communication, and it's unfortunate that you at times that you do have to have that conversation of what are we and what are we doing and who the heck are we doing it with.
Right.
But in this day and age, unfortunately, it's not. You have to have those conversations. Unfortunately,
now I do think you should have a conversation when you make it official.
Yeah, when you make it official, what it is and what it ain't. Now, one thing that friend Brandon brought to my attention one time when he was here was, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I will.
Yes. That was my side that I was about to say is, you had posed the question, is monogamy, is that what is the expectation that we go with, or is it something that's set in stone? Like, what makes that set in stone that it has to be just you and I? That traditional.
In your situation?
No, well, what you posed to me, that question, it was a while back, I think it was
I recall that as well, when basically the question that Brandon had posed was, who said monogamy was right?
Oh, yeah.
I did.
And meanwhile, this is the main one that.
So it's a valid question, because what we oftentimes go at what we have been taught, and we have been taught that if you're going to be in a relationship, it's with one person, and you and that person and no one else. So when you have, when it's an open relationship, then that whole standard or what is the norm is thrown out the window. And you're like, okay, how do I navigate this? But who said that, being with one person was right? And so you have to, that goes back to what you said before, knowing yourself. You have to know yourself to know, okay, am I able to handle that type of setup and go against what is deemed the norm? Or am I okay with being with this one person?
Because I don't judge any kind of relationship. Open, monogamy, poly, whatever the case may be.
Right.
As long as who you're dating or involved with, you're on the same page.
On the same page.
Because that's the important thing. Because for some people, poly might be their norm.
Right.
That's
and
true.
When you are in a relationship or you are dating someone, remember that it's only, I should say this, no pun intended, there's the two of you. So it doesn't matter what someone else might think.
Yeah.
It's about what you guys think. And I will say, though, that's where, like we've talked about, it comes back down to communication. Because no matter what kind of relationship it is, I think that both people should have a clear understanding or an agreement as to the type of relationship it is.
Exactly.
So let's pose a question before we
at
least wrap up the mic and then continue our conversation. Is okay, so let's say we having this conversation and you don't know what your friend's relationship may be, but let's say you are out and about and you see your friend's man with another man having dinner, cackalaking it up, doing all those things, right? What do? Do you go talk to that person who is your friend's man? Or do you go talk to your friend and they be like, hey, oh, what? He did what? Or, oh, that's fine. Whatever the scenario may be, do you go up front, talk to the man up front? Do you keep it to yourself? Or do you talk to your friend about what you just saw? So you're not into their relationship, but that is your friend. Like, consider it is me, which I would like you to tell me so I can come and meet you. But
so I have my own experience a couple years ago in which I experienced that exact same thing. I had a friend who was dating this guy in a relationship. They had made it exclusive. It had been a year. And when I went out to dinner with another friend, I seen him with his partner with another guy, and they were very intimate with each other, kissing and going on. And so I took it upon myself and politely got up from my table and went over to introduce myself and asked to speak to him in private. And I said, you have until such and such time to talk to your partner if you haven't talked to them, or talk to my friend before I get there. And because I looked at it like, if I consider someone a friend, because I don't throw that term around lightly. If I consider you a friend, right, exactly. If I consider you a true friend, then that means that I have your back.
Sorry,
and
someone went down the wrong way. Sorry, it ain't nothing else. Ain't no.
Oh no, it's okay.
We're over here. We have, of course, drinking our wine. So we won't get into the various wines we're having, but yeah. So I had that experience, and of course, he was taken aback by me saying, "You need to tell him before I get home and tell him." And I didn't have any hesitation in doing that because I knew that friend would have done the same for me had I been in that situation. And of course, unfortunately, that relationship did not last, but I was definitely not about to have my friend out here looking stupid. And it's unfortunate because my friend really did think that everything was okay, that they were, in sync, that their communication was great, and that it clearly wasn't the case. So I've personally had that experience, and it doesn't feel good. You don't feel good delivering that message. And all those things. And of course the partner went back and he did, state everything that had happened, and he said he ran into me and I knew, and I told him to let him know, and the fact that he got caught, because basically it's what it was. It wasn't was he going to tell it if he hadn't got caught, but he got caught. So just was like, okay, well, now I have to be honest and tell everything and all that. So
can I ask a question? Not about, so when you went and confronted him,
yes,
were you with a group of friends or were you by yourself? Like, did you have a support just in case something popped off?
No, I was with a friend.
Okay.
I was with a friend. And I let my friend know. I tend not to put my friends in a situation in which I'm just blindsided them. So I let them know I'm getting ready to go talk to my friend's man who's here with someone else. And if it goes sideways, you know what to do.
Yes, friend.
But I didn't hesitate because I looked at it like, this is, from my understanding, y'all supposed to have a pretty solid relationship, and it is a close relationship. So what's happening over here? What do you think? Do you tell the friend first, or you tell?
Friend.
Oh, of course.
So this is what I would do, with our 5 minutes left, is I would call the friend. I would call because I want to know, friend, what you need me to do.
So you're saying
I would call my friend.
He took the initiative to go over to the
friend. Because I would call my friend. So you would
do that. You would call the friend first.
I probably would call the friend first. See what the friend want me to do. Do the friend need me to meet them? Do I need to tag them?
Now, had you guys already talked about that in the event that something like that happened? What made you think that would be okay to do that?
That's a good caveat to have.
Okay, so the reason we hadn't had full discussion. I mean, it is. We hadn't had full discussion about if this happens in this life. Right. You know, because my friend trusts me enough to know that I wouldn't present them nothing that I ain't have proof of.
That's
but
true.
We didn't have that exact conversation.
When they get involved,
exactly. Sometimes it's their man word over yours, so that's why I'm like, let me show you the receipt. This is what it is. I'm gonna walk back, or I'll ask my friend to do it. But I would probably say, I'll probably make sure I'm not by myself. You know what I'm saying? I've watched enough 48 hours on TV. Mm-hmm. But what I would say is, look, friend, this is what's going on. I think that's your man. I could be trained. I ain't wearing my glasses.
No, ain't no thinking in it. I got the.
Well, look, I would say it's for what sure. You want me to do, friend? Do you want me to hand you the phone? Do you want me to talk to you? Do you want me to tell you where we are? What is so that because that friend may say, well, yeah, we're actually broken up, or we're actually in an open relationship. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I know about that.
Oh yeah,
you know. So
I felt confident in that moment. I felt confident in the facts of knowing that was that. In that moment, I had enough confidence in knowing the facts that they were not broken up. That we had just talked about X, Y, and Z. That my friend is the type person that they want to be able to have them type of checked. Like if they want to have a friend that is going to handle that situation up front, or at least try to get a resolve. Which in that case, it would no resolve is you tell him or I tell him. But either way, he gonna know. So I knew what type of friend I was dealing with. But if I thought that it was going to be something where I needed to consult with my friend, I definitely would have done that. She can't get the position right.
Neither can Daddy.
I can't. We were distracted by his dog over here. She's having a good time with herself. But real quick, Brandon, before we go. We do not. Before we go, what are your thoughts on that?
So, that tea got really good.
Okay.
But she's a female, isn't she? Mm-hmm. Come on, fall off the couch. That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
So, I kind of more on the air what Jamal was saying about maybe I will call the friend. I'm not sure. I can't see me taking the initiative to going over to the table. Because I'm going to be like, you know what? This is what's going on here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stay out of it. But I would also make my friend aware of what I saw. Because for me, even though you're my good friend or my best friend or whatever the case may be, this ain't my relationship. Mm-hmm. So I'm only going to go but so far. Mm-hmm. Because next thing you know, it can get... hey, you know what? I'm not trying to be messy.
Right.
I just want to let you know what I saw.
I can understand that.
And this is what I saw. It appeared this way. Mm-hmm. I just want you to know. Mm-hmm. And then what you do with that is up to you.
It's up to you. I agree. You have to know, that goes back to knowing who you, like, what type of friend that is. Mm-hmm. I knew what type of friend I was dealing with versus, another friend, I would have never taken that approach. I would have taken the same approach y'all said, which was let that person know before we go.
Because even if you call, I'm gonna call to let you know you can come down here.
Right.
If you can, maybe too far. I don't know. Mm-hmm. If you can, because at the end of the day, this is not my relationship. Mm-hmm. And I just know that I would rather keep a certain distance.
I don't say that.
Yeah.
I can definitely.
But I understand what I respect. I think everyone's point is good.
Yeah.
But that's just my 2 cents on it. Gotta be like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Well, for guys, that was our discussion today.
That was an hour of power.
It was a great time. And as always, let us know your thoughts. Continue to wash your hands. Continue that open communication. Consistency is everything, and I have enjoyed having Brandon and his long fingers talk over here. So y'all have a great night.
And our Spotify and
tell them where to find
our
us.
Spotify and Apple Music podcast has closed, but on YouTube we're still available. February 7th was National HIV Awareness Day, so shout out to the survivors and the pioneers for making advancements in medication, as well as for PrEP, for PEP, and for those who have treatment as prevention. So thank you guys for tuning in, for rewinding the week and rewinding the birthday.
All right.
We are signing out and see you soon.
Yay.
Thanks, Brandon, for joining us again.